Greetings, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining Sister Modupe, that's me, Sister Modupe's Raw Vegan Soul Food Show, the show where we share with you how to become nutritionally optimized. Let me say it right, nutritionally optimized on all levels, not just physically in terms of what you eat, but spiritually, emotionally, all of it, mentally, spiritually, all of it, because we have to nourish ourselves on all those levels to be optimally live our best lives, be our best selves. So today's show, I know you wonder, oh, what is that music? What is that music? You got to think, right? Today, you just can't stick anything in your mouth in terms of food and expect that it's going to nourish you, because folks out there to make money, and they don't care what they sell you. So we're going to talk today about how to make sure you're getting all the nutrients. Yes, nutrients, that's why you eat. It's not just about smell and taste and all that looks good. There's a reason why we need to consume nutrition, food, and we need to make sure that it is the best nutrition for our bodies so that we can be healthy and wise and strong and have something to share. Because when you're sick, when you're not feeling well, what do you have to share except some germs from a cold or the flu or crabbiness or even your money in your household, right? Do you know that's the biggest form of debt now for people is from catastrophic health costs. You know, somebody has to go in the hospital, somebody has surgery, even those ambulance rides, they wipe people's money out. Okay, so we're going to talk about nutrition today. So we're going to take a look at our first slide. And believe it or not, we're going to look at what is essential for plant growth, right? Because on this show, we talk a lot about what it takes to nourish the body in terms of a plant-based diet. Yep, we're emphasizing a plant-based diet because that's where you get a lot of nutrition and you avoid a lot of complications from consuming meat. So everybody's not going to go vegetarian or vegan, but I'm going to tell you, you certainly need to increase greatly the amount of fruits and vegetables. I'm not just saying it, the doctors and medical establishments are saying it. You need to increase those things a lot in what you eat, and I'm telling you, you need to eat them a lot more fresh, raw, live things too. So anyway, let's look at what it takes for a plant to be nourished. So we look at this chart, and these are all minerals, right? And they are on this chart as essential for plant growth, right? Now, all plants don't need all of these, and they certainly don't need them in all the amounts there that are listed. Some things will use only 3 to 5 of those minerals, but they need these things, and plants have to get them from the soil to provide to our bodies. Our bodies can't make those. We have certain nutrients that our body can make, but these are ones that we cannot make. We can't make minerals. They have to be obtained from plants, from the soil, right? So we see here that maybe there's how many? 2, 4, 6, 8, maybe a dozen or so, right? And remember, all plants don't need all of them, and they certainly don't need them in all those concentrations. Okay, so some plants only need 3 to 5 or so of those things. Let's go to the next slide. Yes, so let's talk about nutrients, right? Nutrients. So plants need certain nutrients from the soil, right? If there's certain nutrients missing, they don't do well. Well, guess what? The same for our bodies. And we have categories of nutrients that we call macronutrients, which you probably hear a lot about, like protein, carbohydrates, fats. You always hear about, oh, where am I going to eat my protein? Or how much protein do I need? Da, da, da. I'm telling you, Americans eat way too much protein, and it makes them really sick. Okay, and then there's micronutrients. Some of you're probably familiar with. You probably hear about vitamins all the time, right? But do you see those others listed there? Minerals and trace elements. Now, plants can make proteins, carbohydrates, fats, things like that, but they can't, and vitamins even, but they can't make minerals. The plants have to get the minerals from the soil for themselves, and they have to get the minerals from the soil that they provide for us, okay? But you saw that list. On that list, there were probably a dozen, and all plants don't need all of those, but our bodies, we need 60. Yeah, I did say 60 a day. So this wonderful, whatever put us here, whatever started life, gave us this wonderful relationship we have with plants. So these plants take up as many as 60 or more minerals from the soil, but they don't have to have them from growth, but they provide them to us, right? Trace elements, things like that. Even water, again, is very important, absolutely, for ourselves and for plants and such. So let's take a look at the next slide. And it's going to talk about macronutrients. Why do we need protein? Why are people always drumming it to you? You need protein, right? Well, this is why. Because together they help the body. This slide talks about, it provides energy to the body. That's what these macronutrients do. And we need a lot of energy, right? Not only are we moving, guess what? Your organs are constantly active also. Look at your heart. It's constantly beating. Look at your lungs. They're inflating, deflating, things like that. You have things that are moving through the organs, okay? So energy, right? Really, really important. Okay, the next slide talks about the micronutrients, I believe. There we go. Minerals, vitamins, trace elements. They call them micro because we don't need as much of them as we need of the macronutrients, but they're all absolutely essential. These that our body can't make. So minerals, vitamins, things like that. Our body can't make the minerals, all right? So, and what do we need those for? We need them in smaller amounts, but they're essential for body to function. The main function of these is to enable the body to have the many chemical reactions to occur in the body, right? Your lungs, you take in air, how's it going to get to all your other organs, your skin, all of that? It has to be converted and transferred and all that type of thing, okay? So your heart, the blood has you have organs that help to remove the oxygen from the air from your breathing in to get to other parts of your body, right? You breathe it in through your nostrils, your lungs are kind of close to your nose, but hey, guess about what your toes needed too. So it's got to get all over the body. All right. And the next one talks about the fact that there are vitamins, for example, that are water soluble and fat soluble, right? We're going to biochemistry class here a little bit. It's very important to understand these things now when people are taking vitamins and things like that. It's very important that you make sure you don't overdose on things like fat-soluble vitamins because those will reside in the fat of the body, like vitamin A, vitamin D, things like that. So you want to make sure that you don't take too much of those because you can essentially kind of poison the body with those, whereas the water-soluble ones, they'll be flushed out of the body much more easily. Okay? Now, one thing I want you to notice that on this particular chart, you see how many essential minerals they have listed there? They only have 2, 4, 6, 7. Did you hear? If you were paying attention, you heard me earlier say that our bodies need 60. We need at least 60 different minerals for our body to function. And when I first heard that, I thought, well, wait a minute, 60. Well, first of all, it's a lot more than I had ever heard about. But second of all, and don't let me forget the trace elements because those are also minerals. So let's count them again. 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17. So they only have 17 there. I want to make sure I'm accurate here. So they have 17 listed there, right? But I said we need 60. Now, you might say, well, that sounds like a lot. But think about what our bodies are doing. From the moment we start as an infant, as a child, as a fetus in our mother's womb, we're growing, we're developing, things your brain is developing, all that type of thing. And then after you're born and you're growing as a child, you have all these needs for nutrients because you've got to grow bones, your heart's got to get bigger, your brain's got to get bigger, And not only do they have to grow, but now they have to function for you independently of your mother, right? So you need all these minerals. So when I think about 60, doesn't sound like a lot because we have a lot going on in our body, not just physically, but biochemically, we have a lot going on in our body. And our organs and such, they don't take a break. Do you want your heart to take a break? I don't think so. How about your lungs? How about your brain? You want your brain to shut down? No. Even when you sleep, your brain is still functioning. Your dreams are very important parts of your functioning, your bodily functioning, your emotional and spiritual functioning. All of that keeps going. So it needs nutrients all the time. Okay, so the next slide. Okay, so the next category we have. So I want to talk now about the fact that, guess what? Didn't I say that plants can't make minerals? They can make proteins, they can make vitamins, they can make fats, but they can't make minerals. And we absolutely have to have minerals, right, for our body. Somebody might say, well, I don't know if that sounds right. Well, guess what? What do they say if you don't have enough iron, which is a mineral in your body? They'll tell you what, you're not feeling well because you're anemic, right? So there are things, there are actually illnesses and diseases and imbalances and really serious sicknesses that can happen if you don't have enough iron, other types of minerals in the body. Remember I said you need 60 minerals. Well, on this slide you can see we talk about 90 essential nutrients, right? You see me all the time drinking this orange liquid in my bottle here. That is what's called tangy tangerine. And the reason that I make sure that I'm always drinking this nutrient is because the soil is missing so much nutrition, so many essential elements, so many minerals. Remember, the plant can't make those. It can make the vitamins, it can make the amino acids, and it can make the fats that are absolutely essential for our lives. But it can't make the minerals. So the 60 nutrients we need every day includes all those categories, but the minerals, do you see that list of 60 there? It only showed about a dozen that plants need, right? And that other list showed about 17 or so, and that's what they call essential. But truly, our body needs these 60. Now, many minerals occur in the Earth's crust. Remember, we're from the soil, from the earth, all of that type of things. So we are very parallel in terms of the things that our body is made of and what we need. So we need all these minerals every day. Let me tell you something about animal science, right? Great, I'm glad that's larger. They have figured out for example, turkeys. If turkeys don't have enough of certain minerals, they get heart conditions. If pigs don't have enough minerals, I believe it's arthritis and such that they'll suffer with. Selenium is the mineral I believe that the turkeys have to make sure to put in their feed. And you know why they have these pellets for those animals to eat? So they can't just pick out the stuff they like to eat. They want to make sure that those animals get everything they need because they're making money off those, right? Now, like I say, I'm a vegan, but other people who aren't, they're going to the store and buying these meats and things like that. Well, for the farmer, for the rancher to get this stuff, these animals healthy from grazing to market, they've got to make sure that they get all the nutrients they need, right? Because if they're falling over dead, those animals, one year, I believe it was in the 50s, the U.S. lost all its turkeys. Almost every turkey in the U.S. died. I can't remember exactly what happened. They had to import turkeys from another country for Thanksgiving. And that was because they hadn't figured out some nutrients that those turkeys needed, and they died, right? Well, the same thing, like I said, cows, turkeys, pigs, sheep, all those animals will get different diseases and ailments. Yeah, dogs and cats, same thing. That's why the vets are so busy, because people want to feed those animals cheap pet food, and those animals get sick. Well, they have figured out what it takes to keep those, particularly those animals that people eat in America. They've figured out in animal husbandry and veterinary farm science, they figured out what it takes to keep all those animals healthy. And that's what they put in those pellets and things that they eat. And so a lot of people are having health issues because doctors are telling them to cut back on salt. Well, certainly they do need to not be eating all of that table salt people overuse, because it's not balanced. It's not a good salt. You'll hear me talk about pink Himalayan salt. I'm going to do a whole show just on salts. But pink Himalayan salt, which has a big mixture of minerals in it, like seawater, like this list here, and so it's very healthy for you. And you'll see that cows have a salt lick out in the pasture. They need salt to stay healthy. So make sure that you understand what you do need to stay healthy, and you can't do it with food alone. Just check this out. If food alone could keep you healthy, particularly the food in America, that's where the Americans live, right? Americans should be the healthiest people on the planet, shouldn't they? Because people here eat all the time. They've got food everywhere. You can't walk 2 feet without running into a store, a grocery, a market, a restaurant, a farmer's market where there is food, okay? Tons of food. So if food by itself, and particularly the food that's here in America, if that could keep you healthy, Americans should be the healthiest people on the planet, but they're not. They're some of the sickest people on the planet, right? So food in America, at least the way they're growing it and preparing it here, is not keeping people healthy. And the reason is because the soils are deficient. They do not have the minerals in them for the plants to uptake to provide for our bodies, okay? And so that means that we're mineral deficient, and minerals are absolutely key in the body. Vitamins don't have a job to do in the body without minerals. Vitamins are kind of like gatekeepers, they're cofactors for minerals. Minerals do a lot for support and a lot of biochemical functions in the body. Let me give you an example. Calcium. Now, calcium is talked a lot about. Oh, but they're telling people to do dairy. And dairy actually causes a lot of osteoporosis and such, right? Because again, if dairy was going to keep people healthy in America, we should have the strongest bones, the best teeth on the planet. But we don't. That's why you have so many dentists, and you have people with arthritis and so many joint replacements. The dairy actually causes a very acidic condition in the body, and that acid leaches the calcium and such from the bones, right? So it's very important to understand that plant-based supplements, plant-based sources for your nutrients is very, very essential, because the molecules are made very, very small by the plants metabolizing the minerals from the soil, and therefore then it makes it easy for our bodies to utilize. And that's why supplementing is absolutely essential, because we just don't get it in the foods. Like I said, remember, look around you. People will talk about vegans and vegetarians and such, but actually most of the people in the hospitals and such, they're not vegans and vegetarians, okay? So I'm not saying that vegans and vegetarians and such do not get ill. They do, because a lot of them are not, again, making sure that they get the proper nutrients. Just because you're not eating dairy or eating meat doesn't mean that you're still eating a balanced life, eating in a way that supports the nutrient requirements for your body. So when you see me drinking this orange liquid, I'm drinking my Tangy Tangerine. And in my Tangy Tangerine, I am consuming all the vitamins and minerals that I need in a day, and amino acids, right, which make proteins. And I need this, we need this, all of us need this, because again, it's not in the food, right? I've had such an improvement in my health since I've been taking these nutrients, and I've been on this path of looking into natural foods and vegetarian and vegan and all of that for over 30 years, well over 30 years. But for example, one thing that happened was I used to have cold hands all the time. And after I started taking my nutrition, all of a sudden, my hands are warm all the time. I didn't realize I didn't have good blood circulation to my extremities, because my hands and my feet used to be cold all the time. That's over, right? So I'm finding that my weight is easier to deal with. People say, well, you can't have 4 children. Look at your waistline. Well, I have such a waistline because I make sure to eat properly. I'm not eating fried chicken and French fries, all that kind of stuff. And I'm also making sure that I get my nutrients that keep my metabolism up. Because as we go around the sun many, many years, because again, I'm almost 60, and your metabolism will slow down, because you're no longer jumping around all the time like you're 5 years or 15 years old anymore, right? Your activity level has slowed down a lot, and a lot of people are eating a lot of calories they don't need. And so that bogs the body down. Not only bogs it down, it clogs it up. And so again, you want to it's very essential that you get all your nutrients to support all your bodily functions. Now, when I was doing some research for this particular show, it was really interesting looking at understanding the micronutrients, macronutrients and such. So in some countries, the big problem is undernutrition, right? Being undernourished. They're not getting enough of their nutrients and stuff, because they're either short on food, or the food that they have is very limited in variety, things like that. In America, it's the opposite end, but actually you end up with a lot of the same things happening. The body is malfunctioning because it's malnourished. Just because somebody is say they're at their weight, and unfortunately in America, a lot of people are obese, and that causes a lot of health problems. They're eating lots of calories, so not having enough calories is not the problem. It's not having nutritious calories, nourishing, nutrient-dense calories. And when I say nutrient-dense, that means calories from foods or supplements that give you nutrition. So, for example, if somebody sits and eats a half of a cheesecake, well, yeah, there might have been some dairy in it if it was made from dairy cream cheese. I make a cheesecake made from cashews, by the way. And so you're going to have, quote unquote, a lot of calcium in there, but you're probably going to have a lot of sugar in there, and you're going to have so much of the sulfur-containing protein, because the dairy is from an animal, and animals have a lot of sulfur in their makeup. It's very destructive. It's the wrong form for the body, and it doesn't help to build the body. Okay, so I've talked a bit about the tangy tangerine. There's another supplement called Cal Toddy, or calcium supplements, that we have in the longevity line. And it's very important that the body has a large pool of calcium available to it at all times. Think about your car. You don't keep as much oil in your car as you keep gasoline in your car. Both of them are essential for the car to run properly. And in the body, we have lots of minerals and other elements and things that we have to have in the body. But one that has to be in the body in a large quantity at all times is calcium. And that's because calcium is not only needed along with its cofactors like vitamin D and magnesium and such. It's not only needed to maintain your bones and your teeth, and actually teeth are extended bones, yes. So it's very important in all your cellular processes. All your cellular processes in your body require calcium. So that's why there has to be calcium, a large amount of calcium in your body at all times. I bet everybody knows someone in their family or a friend who has problems sleeping at night, or maybe even during the day. They have problems with cramps, and that's why they can't sleep. All of a sudden their leg will cramp up, or they're sitting somewhere at a restaurant or something. We had a friend tell us that her sister would be with her at a restaurant, and all of a sudden she'd start hollering and jumping up. She said it was so embarrassing because she would get cramps, just severe cramps. And what the problem with this is that the body doesn't have enough calcium and magnesium to make sure that the muscles can contract and relax. When you don't have enough there, then the muscle contracts and it stays contracted, and that's that tight hardness, and you can't move it, and you're about like, oh, you get, like my husband likes to say, you get real religious. You start calling on everybody and everything to relieve that pain, okay? That's because the body does not have enough of that pool of calcium and magnesium and vitamin D and such, so that muscle can contract and relax. Because even when you're sleeping, you may not be consciously moving your legs and such, but those muscles still need to be able to move, to contract and relax, because you turn over and just because you're alive. There's blood pulsing and all of those types of things through the muscle material. So it's very important to keep a large pool of calcium in the body at all times, like you have to keep a large amount of gasoline in your car at all times, right? You only need a few quarts of oil, but you need gallons of gasoline in your car at all times, okay? And that's similar to the body. Now, maybe the ladies who don't take care of their cars so much, maybe a good way to get you to help you understand that is when you're cooking something or you're preparing some food, and I know men cook also, maybe you don't put enough salt in something or enough sweetener in something. Well, you've got that end product there, but it's just not right. It hasn't gotten to that balance that you want because you didn't put enough of the right ingredients in. Maybe you put a small amount in. Okay, so again, that's like the body. The body requires large amounts of some substances and smaller amounts of others. For example, selenium, very, very important in the body, and that's included in the tangy tangerine. But we actually also take extra of that because it's so important to the body. As calcium and its cofactors are important to the health of your bones and your teeth, selenium is crucial. It's a mineral, and it's crucial to the health of your soft tissue in your body. So you've seen these athletes, they look like they're healthy and all of that, and they're running down the field, or they're in the boxing ring or something like that, or they're running up and down the court playing basketball, and they fall over dead. Well, quite often what's happened is they've been sweating out nutrients from the body, but they've not been putting them back in. Because some of those guys, some of those big, huge basketball and football players, do you know they can lose, through perspiration, they can lose 10 or 15 pounds in a game. Of weight. They can lose that amount of weight. Well, guess what? What they sweat out is not just water. They're sweating out nutrients too. Those nutrients are needed for the sweating process to happen, but you got to put that back in, right? So that's why you see them on the sideline with those energy drinks and such with electrolytes in them. That stuff is not any good. Most of it's colored water, and it's got a few nutrients like maybe potassium or something like that in it. But what you really want to do is make sure you're using something that is nutrient dense, that has good plant source nutrients in it that your body can use. And also, you want to be using a product like Longevity that tells you the amount of those things that you're getting in there, right? What good does it do for somebody to tell you, oh, take this supplement because we got superfoods in it? You don't know how much calcium you're getting in it. You don't know if you're getting any selenium or how much, things like that. So again, you want to make sure that you're taking a supplement that, like Longevity, that not only is plant-based, the source of the nutrients is from plants, and that you can know how much you're getting of each item. You know, we always talk about those supplements they sell in all these stores now. You can go to the corner market now and find little pills on the counter. But the thing is, you don't know how much you're getting in those. You don't know how well it's going to be absorbed in the body. You know, you can get calcium, you can get iron, you can get those things from rocks. You can get them from coral reefs. But are you a rock eater? Do you think your system was designed to consume rocks? Do you think your system was designed for you to consume coral reef? No, those are not good sources. And so you want to make sure that you're getting that extra calcium your body needs, all the other nutrients, vitamins, amino acids, and healthy fats. I like using their Ultimate Multi-EFA, essential fatty acid. This one is made with primrose oil because I don't do fish. And so I'm getting good extra fats, and then also I make sure that I'm eating my avocados and things like that. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm thinking. You better think. Remember the song at the beginning of the show? You better think about what you're consuming and that you're getting a balanced amount of nutrients and you're getting a source of nutrients that your body can use. You take that other stuff in that your body can't use and it ends up damaging your body. I had 2 women tell me that they were taking some calcium. It was not a plant-based calcium. Its source was probably rocks or laboratory or something like that. And they actually both ended up hardening some of the arteries around their heart. Okay, so it's very important that you make sure to get these things in. One more thing. In the good old days when everybody had to use the wood-burning stoves and such, before there was so much electricity available to everyone here, they were using that wood. Once you burn that wood, I probably said it on the show before, what's left are those ashes, and those are the minerals that the trees have been taking up for generations, standing there, taking it up from the soil. And you know what they did in the morning? Threw those ashes out in the garden. So that was supplementing. So don't talk about your great didn't supplement. They did. And we need even more nutrients now because you're not supposed to see the air you breathe. Okay, come on, LA. And people talk about stuff like chemtrails, things like that. Okay, we're not supposed to be breathing all those pollutants and such in, but we got to help. We're in that situation, so we got to help our bodies be able to deal with all of that. Okay, so and that's why we need more nutrients than our hardworking great-grandparents did. They needed more calories because they moved around, picked up heavy things, all that kind of stuff, right? So make sure that you go to my website, Raw Vegan Soul Food at .com, not at rawvegansoulfood.com, and there'll be more information about the nutrients. And I also want to make sure to thank today's sponsor, www.iam90forlife.com. 90 for life means that you get in all of your 90 essential nutrients every day. Go to my website and get more information. Also, www.allinonepresskit.com. Those are our sponsors today. I thank you for joining us. I love you. You better think about what you're taking in, right? because I want you to have the best life and be able to offer your best self to everybody else. See you next time. Thank you for joining me. Sistah Modupe, Sistah Modupe's Raw Vegan Soul Food Show. Peace.